Always need a waiver.
Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? Welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's a nice, cool, breezy evening. I would like to just do a few reminders for you. My name is Jennifer, by the way. I'm a community manager, and you have blessed me with this job for about a little bit over a year. I wish I every single day. Thank you for that. If you are recording this meeting, please let those around you know that you're doing so that they can be aware. And if you didn't know already, we are recording this meeting in the back. It's going to be available for purchase at the POA office when it's finished being downloaded. Oh, I think I need to do better speaking in there. Is that better? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. If you are recording this meeting, please let those around you know that you're doing so. And Al is recording the meeting if you would like to have a copy of it at a later time, probably next week. Let me also let you be reminded to turn your cell phones off for us. And if you'd like to take part in the question and answer at the end of the meeting, please state your name and address and then speak directly into the microphone. We will be passing those out to find you if you have questions. Next, I'd like to start the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to turn back around to face the flag. I'm going to do that when you stand up. Next on our list is to introduce to you the current board of directors. This is Ann Simpson, the president of the board. She's sitting to my right. Jim Klein is sitting to my left, the vice president. Bruce Tice. Gloria Hodges. Our new secretary is Peggy Gilbert. Our treasurer, Rich Miller. And Dan Engelhoff is at the end. I'd also like to introduce and let you know that Tom Mark, our Craven County Board of Commissioners chairperson, is here, chairman of the... Last but not least, our staff that is here. This is Kristen Hansen, who is our bookkeeper. And Kate Castle, who is our local comedian and admin assistant. And this is Chip Harris, who is our regional director for Billy Casper Hall. Dan Argentieri would love to be here tonight. He has a death in his family and he's been called away, so we will miss him tonight. I think that's it. I think we're ready to start the meeting, Madam President.
I need to readjust this. Is that okay with everyone? Can everyone hear me? No. No? Hello. I don't know how to, I don't think you can turn it any higher.
You're fine.
Okay. Good evening. This year has been filled with exciting new ideas, new concepts, and new plans to answer the question, what are we going to be when we grow up? Several different committees have been formed to answer these questions, and you will hear some updates this evening. I'm often asked, what does the board do anyway? The board follows the North Carolina General Statutes 47F and 55A and acts in good faith, with prudent care, with fiscal responsibility, and in the best interest of the corporation. The board coordinates with Philly Castle Golf on a regular basis to ensure that there is consistent transfer of information. From Harbor Point Golf Course and our other departments in landscaping, maintenance, and of course the POA office. In addition, there are numerous meetings to plan, implement, and review policies and procedures. There are 2,824 enumerated lots with approximately 31 miles of roads with single-family homes, condominiums, and timeshare units, a golf course, 2 marinas, and a large green space formerly known as the Shoreline Golf Course. We need to find a new name for that space, and I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but I think it's time to change that name. There are many personnel changes in the past few months, including the new community manager who you just saw, Jennifer Gadatis, a new bookkeeper, Kristen Hansen, a new administrative assistant, Kate Castle, and these changes have transformed the POA office into a welcoming, courteous, efficient place, which welcomes residents who need assistance I've been asked to ask Sharon, if I knew where Sharon was, I would ask. Oh, hi Sharon, you were there before. Sharon, is there a quorum here this evening? Thank you very much. Gloria never fails. It's a welcoming place where residents who need assistance to stop by and get a decal for their car, check on the status of a permit that's going through the PCC, or even to find out when the next meeting is planned. If you need to know something specific, I think that one of the 3 ladies in our office now knows the answer to the question, and if they don't, they will find out for you. Please visit if you haven't. If you're new in the neighborhood and have not received your welcome packet, I encourage you to go to the office and get one, and also sign up to the FHPOA website. That's Fairfield. Community, volunteering, a sense of belonging. Those are some of the words I have heard to describe Fairfield Harbour. Director, Reverend Dr. William Beery, or Bill to most of us, was one of the finest examples of volunteering of his time. He served on the Strategic Studies Committee before serving on the board for 2 terms. Bill was instrumental in forming the Stormwater Committee and served as its liaison to the board. He is the liaison to the New Neighbors Welcome Committee. Bill brought his own special style to the board. He was thoughtful, and he was always made a point of inserting a preamble to all of our motions to help residents understand why the board was voting on a certain topic. And if you read the minutes, sometimes there are motions that you may not understand. When Bill is in the room, he always gives a little blurb, a little preamble to say, this is why the board is doing what it's doing, and that someone else will have to take on. Recently, He was the driving force behind researching and contracting with the newly acquired land plan. My personal take was his subtle humor, which was a welcome distraction to our sometimes, almost always, lengthy meetings. Bill was unable to attend tonight's meeting, but he may see Al's video, so let's give him a round of applause. Director Wayne Strasbaugh is a longtime resident of Fairfield Harbour and is very proud to say Fairfield Harbour has been his home for over 30 years. His love of this community is evident by the enthusiasm with which he approaches the projects he chooses to spearhead. He is the liaison to the Enhancement Committee, a member of the Roads and Streets Committee. He was the chairman and really thought of a plan for the cart barn renovation. He almost single-handedly has overseen the repairs currently occurring in the inner harbor. Wayne is one of the community's most seasoned historians, but Wayne will be remembered for his pictorial history of the harbor. He is an avid believer of a picture is worth 1,000 words. Wayne never disappointed. If he wanted to tell you about a sign, he had a picture. If he wanted to show you a crack in the road, he had a picture. If he wanted to show you a new light, he had a picture. And if you didn't even know what you wanted, he still had a picture. Unfortunately, Wayne was also unable to attend tonight's meeting, but let's give him applause as well. Sharon Hankey is sitting in the front of the room tonight. Many know her because she was a board member a couple years back. It's been a whole year ago. She is the secretary of the election committee, which involves hundreds of hours of work from March until tonight, culminating with the election results. Working with Director Gloria Hodger, Sharon compiled, collated, entered into spreadsheet a mountain of information. Please join me in acknowledging Sharon, Gloria, and all the office staff who participated in the election process. Next slide, please. To my right is a slide of several committees which make up an army of volunteers who represent the commitment of individuals who have served on committees to enhance our community. There are too many committees, work groups, focus groups, and ad hoc groups to mention this evening, but without your help, we would not be able to say, that's Fairfield. Would the members of the past and present boards please stand and remain standing? Present board, past board. Will everyone who currently serves on a committee, work group, focus group, ad hoc committee, please stand? Look around this room. These are the faces of Fairfield who work hard in so many different ways. Thank you all for your dedication and commitment to making the Fairfield community what it is today and what it will be in the future. Thank you. I have one other announcement. There is a couple who have a table outside, and they would ask that if you would choose to sign a petition regarding the water increase or the increase to our water bills. They'll be outside after the conclusion of this meeting. Thanks. The next person I'm going to introduce is Mr. Rich Miller. He is the treasurer of the POA board.
Fairfield. All right. Glad to see you're all here tonight on this nice cool evening. You're lucky it's not tomorrow night. It's going to get a bit warmer. I didn't know what Ann was going to say tonight, but before I start showing you numbers, I'm going to take a little different course. And we hear kind of negative things in the POA from different sources around the neighborhood, but I tend to think that our neighborhood is on the upswing. So I'm going to talk about the intangibles, or the quality improvements that we've had. And to do that, you got to kind of take 2 points in time. Tonight will be the after, and the before will be a period about 18 months ago. And if you think about that, December 30th, 2016, we purchased the amenities. Now that didn't happen by accident. There was a lot of hard work done by the previous board and the current board, as well as our legal counsel. Now back in, I can't remember what it was 2014 or 2015, we ended up losing a case. And the board could have rolled over and said, okay, that's it. We're not going to be able to make this thing happen. But that's not the way the board worked. They decided that we just need to change legal counsel. We're now working with Jordan Price. And that switch was very instrumental in the conclusion of the purchase of the amenities at the end of 2016. So what does that do for us as a way of quality improvement? If you think about it, that ended the time of the lawsuit. After that, lawsuits have just kind of gone away. And that's a good benefit to us, because now instead of going, oh my, are we going to lose this case? Do I need to worry about it? We don't have to do that anymore. We have peace of mind. We own the property, like Ann said. The other benefit is that we're no longer paying big bucks to legal to defend us in court. We can now use those monies to maintain or improve our amenities here in the harbor. Let's take a closer look at how some of the things that Ann said. What does the board do? Well, think about it. We now own the amenities. We had to hire somebody to run the golf course. Well, Billy Casper Golf was already here. We had a good working relationship with them. The first thing we did was we had to develop a contract to hire Billy Casper Golf to be our management services for the golf and marina areas. Now the contract, our guy, our board expert is sitting at the end of the table here, Mr. Dan Engelhoff. Not only did we have to develop a contract for the golf and marina, we had to quickly get a contract in place for the landscape and maintenance areas. So there's 2 contracts that were already, had to be pretty much ready on January 1st of the following year, which was last year, not that long ago. And then to complete the 3-headed dragon, we needed somebody to replace cast management services. We were having deteriorated service and increased costs, and we were just not happy with cast. So we decided that we would put bids out in the 4th quarter of 2016 and see what would bubble up. We had it bubbled down to 3 finalists, and basically we liked what we heard from Billy Casper Golf. So now we've got the 3-headed Billy Casper Golf trio right here in Fairfield Harbour. So let's take a look at that. The golf. In 2 years ago, how was the golf course run? It was run by Mid-South and Billy Casper Golf. Well, if Billy Casper Golf needed $200,000 worth of improvements from Mid-South, they would ask for it, but they wouldn't get it. They might get a portion of it, but, you know, it just wasn't cohesive. Mid-South just didn't know how to run a golf course. Billy Casper Golf does, but Mid-South didn't. Once it became ours, we had a vested interest in making sure that that entity succeeded, because that entity is paying for our loan to Fairfield Harbour Partners. And if you drive down the street now and take a look at the fairways and the greens, how do they compare to what they were 2 years ago? They're green. The other area that we have is landscape and maintenance. Take another kind of quality check on them. What was it like 2 years ago? We had Mid-South Golf, and we had Yardneek. Okay. Yardneek was a very expensive outfit. They did good work. They just laughed at us every time they made a deposit to the bank, I think. Their only job was to take care of Creek Road and the beds in front of the two buildings that we've got, you know, the two security buildings in front of the POA office. That was their job. Mid-South had to take care of the rest of the property. And their philosophy was, we will cut your grass twice a year, whether you need it or not. Of course, the grass was about 3 or 4 feet tall when they got around to it, and sometimes we had to take pictures and take them to the judge to get them to cut the grass. So, and now what are we doing? Billy Casper Golf Landscape is cutting it 12 to 18 times during the growing season. And there's more quality improvements that they do. Remember, we had one of the things that we told the community was, we're going to hold your rates flat for 5 years because of the purchase of the amenities. So we didn't have a lot of money to do any improvements yet. And so one of the things that the board thought they could do was a low-cost item, was to get rid of eyesores. And if you remember, we had two, on the Shoreline Greenway, we had 2 restrooms that were in deplorable shape. One of them had a tree fall through the roof. We didn't hire anybody to knock those things down. Billy Casper Landscape and Maintenance did it themselves. The only thing that we had to pay for was the removal of the debris. It doesn't stop there. Will, I think, is kind of a jack of all trades. You know, when it rains hard, you get the big puddles down by the entrance over on the shoreline side. Well, Will dug a drainage ditch on the far side that went till, I don't know, about 150 feet, 200 feet. And he did it in such a way that he would funnel the water away from where it would pool. Logical. And it works. That 4.5 inches of rain that we had the other night, came out the next morning, there's no pool of water out there at all. Quality improvement. Last but not least, we have the third head of the POA triangle here as the dragon head. Cast in their infinite wisdom to show you how the deterioration was going, they gave us a community manager by the name of Dan Quartermain. Do you guys remember him? Dan Quartermain, Jennifer Cadet. Problem generator versus problem solver. We've got 2 other marvelous people that work in the POA office. We've got Kristen, who's our bookkeeper, and we got Kate up at the front. They're residents here. And if you can't get your work done at the office, they say go to their house. What's that? No, forget that. glad to see you at the office. So we've got peace of mind, we've got elimination of eyesores, and we've got a friendly environment at the POA office. And even with the POA, it doesn't stop there. This was the first community service, other than a golf course, this is the first POA that Billy Casper Golf has taken the initiative. They wanted to expand their market. And to do that, they wanted to make sure that they would succeed. And we generate a mountain of data every month from all the transactions, the purchasing, and the fixed assets, everything. And Billy Casper Golf, they didn't lose a beat. They picked it up, and we have a CPA, accountant that interfaces with me, and she's out in California right now. She's in Hawaii because he just got married. Yay. But I want to tell you, the quality of service that they are providing is phenomenal, and I'm very happy that the three-headed dragon has been a success. Throw up the next slide. I noticed the last time I showed numbers, a lot of people coming, got glassy-eyed, and I did see one guy lay his head down on the partner's shoulder. So I think at this point I need to kind of tell you a joke, just to make sure that you guys are awake. There's a little boy baby and a little girl baby in the nursery. And the little girl baby says, "Goo goo gaga goo, huh?" And that's baby speak. And I'm not very good at baby speak anymore, so for you, benefit of you tonight, I will do a translation. And what the girl baby had asked the boy baby was, "Are you a girl baby or a boy baby?" And the boy baby says, "Well, I'm a boy baby." And the girl baby says, "Well, how do you know?" And he throws his blanket off, he looks down, he points down, he says, "See? Blue booties." I wasn't going for the punchline, I was going for the thinking. I know you all were thinking something else. There's a chart. This is the 90,000 foot levels chart of FY17. How did we do on income versus expense? For those of you who can't read it, you need binoculars over here. I'm going to make this brief. And it's no bad news, folks, it's all good. From a POA dues standpoint, we collected 98.1% of the gross dues. That is attributed to hard work by our POA staff and by Jordan Price, our folks. Our current philosophy at the board is 95% of the people pay their dues when they're due, or they're fairly soon afterwards. But if they don't, then we stick Jordan Price on them, and those that do see the light, they'll pay up, and the ones that don't, then I don't know that we're ever going to get a penny from it. But it's good that we know, and we are foreclosing on those folks. Last year, when we started the fiscal year, we had about 170 POA-owned lots. That is now down to 46. And you can buy them. If you want to invest in them, you can buy them. You can see Jim Klein. He'll be happy to tell you which ones they are and where they are and how much you can buy them for. From an expense standpoint, we ended up at the bottom line with a black number. Now there's accountants do kind of like jokes, you know, they like the colorful things. So black is good, red is bad, and blue is very good. The only number on there that should be read that I didn't, well, the negative number should be read, but I didn't do that because there weren't that many of them. Bottom line, we ended the year with almost $174,000 to the good in the black. We're a nonprofit organization, so that's not really profit, we could just say it's surplus. And what happens is that money gets transferred over to the balance sheet under stockholders' equity called a line item called retained earnings. Just to show you how accountants think, I kind of looked at the balance of what was in the retained earnings and divided it by, I took that number, divided it by about 50 years of existence for POA, and on average it's $60,000. So we almost tripled that this year. So, however, another quality improvement that I got to say that came through from Billy Casper Golf Finance, our accountant out in California found when they were working on the 6-month audit with Oliver Ernie, who's happens to be our annual CPA outfit here in North Carolina that does our audits of our books, they found that there was a metric that was out of balance. And we got a bluebird. Remember I said blue was very good. And we got almost a $250,000 bluebird because of that. And that even carried over into the following year's budget where we didn't have to budget for a particular line item. If anybody has any questions on the data that you want to talk to me about, I'll feel glad to talk to you. But I think FY17 was a banner year for us. It was the first year that we had everything kind of tied together, and I think we did a pretty good job of getting to the end of the line. The other comment I will make is in FY17, we started the year with $400,000 of debt in the line of credit. We ended the year with nothing in it. We did that because this guy here sold a bunch of lots. The long-term debt, and remember I said we hear stories about the negative press or whatever. Billy Casper Golf is responsible for turning over their golf receipts for us to be able to pay our long-term debt. Now, once a quarter, we have to make about somewhere between $91,000 and $92,000 payment on the loan that Fairfield Harbour Partners was so generous to finance the purchase with. The next payment is due Friday. I'm going to be going there Friday to make the next payment. But never, ever has there been a time when we were short of funds to pay the loan. As a matter of fact, we're actually, Billy Casper Golf has probably in the neighborhood of $275,000 per year over and above what we have to use to pay off the loan. And we are using that money for our POA. So thank you, Billy Casper Golf. Next chart. And the numbers get smaller. You need bigger binoculars. This is FY18. It's a different format, which is why I couldn't put it on the same chart with the FY17 data. Our fiscal year runs from March through February, and Billy Casper has an accrual-based system, and that's where we ended up. When we started the year, our first year with CAS was under a cash-based system. And therefore the accounting was a little different. So I don't need to, the budget is out on the POA website if you want to go out and look at it and get educated. There's lots and lots of numbers, probably about 9 pages on the budget. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through it. Bottom line is net income here is 0. That's what you're supposed to plan for. We have about $3.3 million in the budget, and we're going to have $3.3 million of expense. Bottom line, it's going to be 0. Let's hope we can have another year that was as good as last year. And with that, I think I'm done, unless anybody has any questions. Yeah, I got one more thing to say. I started this job in County on the Fairway, riding a bike in the summer of 2016. So it's been almost 2 years. I am a father and a grandfather. I got 8 grandkids, and my family is very important to me. So I am going to be stepping down as the treasurer. We already have a replacement in the room, as a matter of fact. She is very well. I wouldn't just turn this over to anybody. This job is kind of demanding, and you need a strong accounting background, and she has it. She has a very sound accounting background, and she worked for Dow Chemical up from the upper Midwest, and her name is Rose Lick. All right, Rose.
And we're all going to miss it. It's a hard act to follow, and but I did want to talk a couple minutes about the land use planning update, give you folks an update on where we are. Ann alluded to it a little bit. We looked at over 30 companies. They were sent RFPs, requests for proposal, telling them what we thought we wanted to do and what we expected from them. We received 6 proposals. And of that number, a number of them came to visit the community. We also asked for best and final offers from the 2 that we thought were standouts, one from Kinston, and we ultimately awarded the contract to KCI Associates of Raleigh, North Carolina. We signed that contract on May 9th, which will start about a 24-week process. We were impressed with their proposal and their presentation to us, because they talked about, first and foremost, the kind of the Hippocratic oath, do no harm, don't degrade the value of property, try to increase the value of property. The number 2 was they talked about development of some sort of economic engine for Fairfield, which, as we know, when we want something, we have to pay for it. So we were intrigued by that insightful approach. And they talked a great deal about reimagining. I know we've talked about reinventing Fairfield. This is more of a reimagining of Fairfield. So we'll have to see what develops out of that process. But as you can see on this slide, their experience ranged from the Northeast, and I only put up a few of their qualifications, or their quals, they call it in the proposal business, but from Florida to the Northeast to Albemarle Plantation, Colonial Heritage, some of these places you'll hopefully recognize. But it's a very robust architecture and engineering firm, and we're happy to have them with us. We had an on-site review, loaned them a couple of golf carts and a bunch of maps. This was the 2nd or 3rd time they'd been here. during the proposal process, and gave them a couple of golf carts and said, okay, take off. We've also kept them apprised of things like the multifunctional facility working group and what they're looking at, the boat ramp interest groups, and so that, and of course they got all the data from the Vision 385, the results of the Vision 385. So we didn't want them coming back to us and saying, and us having to say, hey, we've already thought of all that stuff. So it is truly a partnership between the community and this land use planner. Again, that on-site review was the 29th and 30th of May. We will be receiving, the board will be receiving what they call the preliminary conceptual master plan scheduled for mid-July of this year. So we'll have a chance to take a look at that, validate whether it makes the direction they're going makes sense or not, and then they will come up with further recommendations. But again, it's a 24-week process, and we're looking forward to the results with great anticipation. So, thank you.
Well, I'm the point person for the,
You have to speak more into the mic.
hi, I'm the point person for the multifunctional facilities working group. Okay? And I know we've had one meeting with them, but it's all up there, I don't know if you can see it.
We can't hear you.
Okay. Can't hear you. Okay. I'm hoping you can see what they're doing, and they wanted. The mission was to generate rough ballpark estimates for a design and cost proposal, timing for a multifunctional facility, and that's what they're working on right now. And what they're doing is reviewing the findings of the Vision 385 meetings, gathering community input, survey the needs and desires of Fairfield Harbour committees and social groups. And they're visiting existing facilities in other communities and developing preliminary findings for the presentation to the board. And I know they're all working on it now. Take questions later.
I'm short, so I'll bring it down. If you hear it, just let me know. We're good? All right. I'm here to represent Wayne Strasbaugh, who unfortunately is out learning how to drive monster trucks right now. So Mr. Adrenaline had a lot of responsibilities this year, and he, as Ann said, spearheaded the repairs to the inner harbor bulkheads, and that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. As Rich said, on the last day of 2016, the POA acquired a tract of open green space known as the 385, which included all the bulkheads along the inner harbor, shoreline, and birdland marinas. This is a picture of the bulkhead, about 900 Pelican moving down to Gondolier, and it gives you an idea of just that little sliver of the green space that we acquired. And if we go to the next slide, we'll see the bulkheads going up to the shoreline marina, again, from 900 Pelican on up. We acquired those bulkheads, and we knew that they had a lot of problems. They bowed, they're bent, they separated, and they're dilapidated. And we knew these problems needed to be addressed. And we knew if we ate this elephant one bite at a time, or for you seafaring folks at Kraken, one bite at a time, we knew we'd be successful in restoring the harbor. So, on behalf of the POA, Director Strasbaugh submitted RFPs to local marine contractors and ultimately settled on 2 firms to begin making repairs to the bulkheads and a 3rd company to provide repairs to the washed out culvert. The first repairs were made to the Birdland Marina. On the left, you'll see the Birdland Marina before, with the seawall actually pitching towards the water. On the right, you'll see the amount of work that was required to begin to pull those seawalls back in. And the next slide will show that wall pulled back in, straightened, capped, all the way around the Birdland Marina, all three sides. And that'll be there for quite a few years to come for the enjoyment of the community and the sailors who set their boats down at that marina. Presently, half of the bulkhead repairs have been completed. 2 outlet culverts have been repaired, and the remaining 2018 repairs are currently under contract. For $85,000, all leaning bulkheads, except those at the Shoreline Marina, will have been repaired by the end of this year. The one remaining area not yet under contract for repair is the bulging bulkhead at Shoreline. Want to back up? That's okay. The reason is the Shoreline Marina has older vinyl bulkheads, and accordingly repairs cannot be performed, and replacement will be the option for approximately another $45,000. The issue is that work will be considered in 2019 or 2020, so that's going to be in the out years. The Harborside Boat Ramp bulkhead. Those of you who have small boats and use that area know that that bulkhead has been kind of falling into the water over time and just rotting away. And that boat ramp, that bulkhead is going to be replaced and extended across the property to prevent any further erosion and continued loss of soil at the fishing pier entrance and the parking area. Financing for the project will come from reserve funds that are dedicated to that amenity, and the cost is estimated to be $13,000. Recently, from having a blowback tide, we identified that a culvert washout had created a shoal near Felucca Port along the inner harbor. And the POA is joining with a property owner-led dredging initiative, which some of you may be a part of. And we're going to have that shoal taken care of, and the cost to the POA for that one location will be $2,500. And the POA is also going to accept some spoils from the dredging project to offset some of the haul-off fees. Maintenance. As with all things, just take a look around, and maintenance is the key to the longevity of any asset. It's expected that 580 tie rods will be inspected and replaced over the next 5 to 8 years at a cost of approximately $22,000 per year to the entire seawall throughout the harbor. As well as every year, the tie rod nuts and washers will be replaced as needed at a cost of about $5,000 per year. I think that everybody knows now that Wayne Strassbell was the person who spearheaded this and basically worked with the engineers. And if you see him in the harbor, which I'm sure you will, just take a moment to thank him for a year's worth of hard work to bring those bulkheads back up into shape. Thank you.
I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of committees. Ann alluded to the fact that the POA board would not be anywhere near as effective as we are. We didn't have volunteers who were willing to give their time and efforts to get some of the things done that we need to get done around the harbor. The first committee we're talking about is the Property Evaluation Committee. We currently have, Rich mentioned that we had 170 lots last year. We've managed to sell quite a number of those. For those of you who are interested, there are 2 major developers who are moving into the harbor. They have purchased a number of lots. One of them has submitted plans for the 5 different dwellings. They intend to start building houses. The first house that's going to go up is going to be a spec house, and it's to be right at the gate. There's a lot right there, 700 Cara, which is the first lot after you turn right. And I'm sure you've seen the stakes there. Well, once the plans are approved by our PCC, that's where they're going to start. There's another company who has something like 13 lots that they've purchased. One of the things we did was, with the 150 lots, we needed to sell them. Our whole idea was we needed to get the dues. I mean, that was the real reason for trying to get to sell them. At the same time, because of the way the economy was, there wasn't a lot of money you could get for a lot. We tried selling them at $7,500. We had no takers. So basically, we went back and reduced the price significantly. That caught the interest of some folks who are, I guess you would call them backers, people who come in and they buy lots, and they hold them until developers come in, and then they sell them to the developers. So it's kind of a middleman kind of deal. And we have one or two of those people working in the harbor right now. So they acquire these lots, ones that they think they could. And the other thing they do for us is they encourage developers to come into the harbor to build homes, because they want to sell those lots. So that has turned out to be a very good deal. That's worked out very well for us. At this time, we have 47 lots for sale. The prices on the lots are ranging from $6,000 to $10,000. A lot depends on the views, whether you're on a golf, you have an open view at the back. There are 10 additional lots that we have reserved over and above as part of the, over and above the 47. 9 of those are around Great Inaugural. As we were selling the lots last year, I noticed that there were several lots, 3 or 4 lots, right around Great Inaugural, which backs up on Red Seal. And the thought was, if we can get enough of these lots together, if we want to do ever want to do any expansion on Redstale, expansion of the park, that would be ideal. And there's not a lot of interest in Great Inaugural in terms of people building houses anyway, but so we're holding on to those for a while. If it turns out that we're not going to do it, then we'll sell it. But for now, I think it's worthwhile to keep those lots. The other lot we're holding is one lot which is right next door to the cart barn. If you get on Pelican, just past the cart barn, there's a vacant lot. It's on the other side of that swale. We decided that that was also one that we probably ought to hold on to see if, once we start looking at the development there, whether that would make sense to incorporate that in our plans. None of these lots have been turned into common property. We're paying taxes on them, but the idea is if they're not common property, we can still sell them. So we're just going to hold on to those until then. I have a spreadsheet of the addresses of the lots. I tried to put it up here, but you really need a microscope to see the things. So if you want to see what's out there and the asking price for the lots, I will put copies in the POA office. You can ask Kate, and she'll be happy to give you a copy. So that's all there is on lots. The other committee I want to talk about is called the Covenants Enforcement Committee. This is a new committee. It was just formed this year. We recognized as time went on, particularly with the office, that in order to attract new residents into the harbor, we kind of needed to clean our act up a little bit. There are many people, there are some people who are less than, how can I say it, less than able, I guess, to maintain their property the way they should. There are issues with grass, there are issues with garbage cans, there are issues with trailers, there are issues with boats. So we formed this committee, and to my surprise, well, there was a good bit of interest in it. So there are several teams. There's probably 4 or 5 teams. They're not going to be named. Whose only job it is to go out and identify a violation. The purpose of this is not to kill people. The purpose of it is to help people make the harbor more attractive. Some of it, a lot of it, is just people don't know. I mean, there are people that, for instance, don't realize that if you have a above ground tank, propane tank, beside your house, it's supposed to be screened, so you can't see it from the street. And I mean, I saw one comment from somebody said, "Well, I think it's been like that for 28 years." Well, I'm sorry, you know, that's the rule. And that's all we do, is we try to enforce the rules. So if you see these folks, you might thank them for doing a really thankless job, because that's tough. Nobody on the committee is allowed to go into their own neighborhood. They have to go into somebody else's neighborhood. So at least we give them that. The other thing that the committee does is they do not, they're told not to interface with people. If somebody comes out yelling and screaming, they're to tell them to talk to the office. We've loaded all this on Jennifer. So if somebody's really ticked off, they can talk to her. She'll smile and make it all better. Thank you.
Moment we've all been waiting for, the happy part of the evening. I would like to introduce Mr. Thomas D. Monty. He's a CPA with the Williams Scarborough Smith and Gray Certified Public Accountant, located in Newburgh. The election results are as follows. Ken Caviston, 375. Brian Griffin, 95. Mitch Mininger, 517. Cindy Pellegrini, 478. Mitch Miller and Cindy Pellegrini are our new, Mitch Mininger, or Mitch Miller. Will you be given the oath of office, please?
I, Sydney Pellegrini, solemnly agree to abide by the Declaration of Restriction and by the bylaws of Fairfield Harbour, and to abide by the restrictions that apply to the COA Board of Directors. I further agree to exercise my obligations and fiduciary responsibility.
Can you speak into the mic a little better? We can't hear you.
Want to go to the mic more? Okay, how's that? Better? Okay. I, Mr. Do solemnly agree to abide by the Declaration of Restriction and by the bylaws of Fairfield Harbour, and to abide by the restrictions that apply to the PFA Board of Directors. I further agree to exercise my obligations and fiduciary responsibilities.
This concludes the business portion of the meeting, and now I will be open for questions. There are microphones someplace, I believe. There's two. Remember to identify yourself with your name and address, and I will repeat the question if I can hear it.
Thank you. Good evening, my name is Ted Clark. I live in Salt Lake Court. My question is, I know we're doing or planning to enlarge the golf shack into a restaurant and to build another building behind it with a deck in the middle for the administration. When is this going to take place? Thank you.
You're welcome, Ted. Right now it's going through the permitting process. It has to go through FEMA and through the state, and when that is completed, we will have an update, but until such time as all the permitting has been completed, we can't give any kind of time frame.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Bill Marotti, Royal Prince Drive, and we saw something online regarding Capital City Homes buying 100 properties in the community. Is this real? Is it rumored? Can somebody expand on it and explain? They talk about they bought a parcel. I have no idea what that parcel is, and have an option to purchase well over 100 lots in Fairfield Harbour. Just please explain.
That's what's called sales advertising. Capital City has purchased, I believe, somewhere around 9 or 10 lots. The rest of it is, if they sell everything they can build, they'll just keep buying and building. So there's no agreement at all. And there was another one on the website for Windjam. Same deal. They say, they've got 100 acres. Well, if you take all the lots that are for sale, or all the lots that the factors have out there, at 3/4 of an acre, it comes up to 150 acres, or whatever it is. So that's just pure hype.
Thank you, Jim.
My name is Paul Hill. I live at 914 Crooked Creek. One of the items that we have not had since we bought 385 is to do a reserve analysis to understand how that will impact our budget going forward. That's a significant item in our reserve funds are a significant item in our budget, and it will be obviously when we add a whole lot of additional items. One hasn't been completed, and two, where we expect it to do to our overall budget this coming year.
Good question, Paul. We have already contacted these reserve advisors. They have come back with their first pass of what they feel the harbor needs, and I'm sure that you've experienced the same thing. Reserve Advisors is an outfit that's in Florida, and that will fly up an engineer who will come and look at the property. And basically, the engineer looked at the previous reserve study on the flight. while he was on his way here. He toured the property. We didn't have too much interface with him. He went back and came back with his take. We're in the process now. We have a 6-month window to accept, reject, or revise his input. We're in the middle of that right now. I would say we're about 3 or 4 months away from updating the reserve study to come up with a final reserve study. There's no plans on revising the current year budget. They will revise budgets starting next year to implement whatever else we need to take care of.
Am I it? Who are you? Took me a while to get up because I'm stuck to the chair.
Oh dear.
First of all, I'd like to thank the 4 candidates who ran for the board. I really commend you all. And congratulations to the 2 new board members. When I come to meetings like this, I think we get the chance to hear what people have to say and share our thoughts. So I'm wondering, or I'd like to make a request, that we go back to the quarterly meetings, because I miss not having those, and sometimes I feel out of the loop. Is there a possibility that the board will do it? Not sure.
You need to introduce yourself, Jan.
Oh. Maybe I won't answer that question, but my name's Jan Meehan, and I live at 715 San Juan.
Jan, we instituted a new policy sometime in the winter, last fall, winter, somewhere in there, where the board decided that the second board meeting each month was going to be open to anyone who wanted to come in and listen to what the board had to say, which would help anybody who is interested come and listen to what we say on a regular basis. One of the people who took advantage of that opportunity was Mitch. He came in, he listened, and look where he is today. So, if anybody else wants to come and listen to the board, we'd be happy to hear. We can consider the quarterly meetings, but truly, since there is not the amount of litigation that was once, we were once involved with, there, and the complaints are less, and we have Billy Casper as a management company, and we are happy with them, and they're doing a wonderful job. It seems that, save the new land use planner, the reserve study, and the multi-use facility issues, not issues, but, actually good things to hear about, there's been less actually to talk about. We do have, well, that's what I just said. So as those things come available, I think we will have meetings to discuss those. I'm not sure that they'll all be at a quarterly meeting. They may be in different, they may be 2 really close together. There may be one, not until the fall. Because there's a lot of work to be done behind the scenes, and the multi-use facility has their own reports to give to the board, and then we have to look at that. So yes, there will be more information coming. There will always be information on the community manager's report every Friday. And if there's a specific question, Jan, that you have that you are not getting an answer to, please by all means send me an email and I will answer the question for you.
Does anybody else have more questions? Anybody? Can I remind everybody to pick up your chair if you can? We're going to need
There's a lady here that that has a question.
Okay, I'm on my way.
I'm Nancy Robinson at 2128 Royal Pines Drive. I would just like to say for Dan's part that I would very much like a quarterly meeting myself, because if we come to that meeting you mentioned, I'm assuming we're only hearing what's going on at that one meeting. I think it's nice to have a quarterly meeting that we review what's been happening for a quarter.
Well, it may be, like I said, you may have quarterly meetings, but not, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. It may not work out that way because I suspect that once this land use planner divulges his results and findings, there may be several meetings coming one right on top of another, which may preclude the board from having meetings for maybe a little bit longer. I don't know, I cannot promise that it's going to be every quarter. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tim Lobson?
I even get introduced by someone?
Buckle Reef.
Tim Lobson, 5020 Buckle Reef. Jim, when you're talking about the DOR enforcement and beginning that process and trying to become more rigorous, which I think is the right thing to do because, for one thing, you don't have the same restrictions in every part of the community. That's a problem that's been with us for quite some time because a number of sections of the community haven't adopted the First Amendment and made the changes that Shoreline did about, 2005, I think. And that is an insurmountable problem, but it's interesting that when you start the process, I would venture to guess it's probably going to raise itself at some point as you go along. But I do think you're doing the right thing because the documents are there and it's only fair that they be enforced as they read.
Just as a addition to that, the committee members are tasked with becoming experts in the DORs. They each have a section of the harbor that they work in, and they need to know the DORs for that particular section. Of course, there's some crossover, but basically, they're tasked with actually becoming as expert as possible on the DORs in that particular section. Thanks for your comments.
I have one quick thing to mention. If somebody wants information on how to get the weekly update on Friday, please fill this form out and turn it into us so that we can make sure that you get online connected.
I don't see anybody else's hands being, yes, I do. Gary Brenneman.
Gary Brenneman, 1122 Barkentine Drive. If you're not a member of our Fairfield Harbour community group on Facebook, we'd love to have you. Just Google Fairfield Harbour community and I will approve you, and you can keep up with a lot of stuff there and voice some opinions, maybe.
Some of the websites and groups recently have become quite colorful, and it might be a nice thing to do to be a little more civil to one another, and that the administrators make sure that if that is happening, you won't be happening. So be kind to one another. We're all in this together. We're trying to help make this a better Fairfield. So please don't be mean. It's not necessary.
Be nice or be gone. I'm quick.
Cindy's comment was that you have to realize that people from other communities are listening and watching the comments that are made here on our site, so that is resonating through to who knows who. And yeah, they can see it, they just can't answer them, you know, so people can see it, and we don't want to air our dirty laundry.
Can I build on what you just said, Ann?
Sure.
If you were here, and a lot of you have been here forever, some of you, I believe. Al Ashiar, I live on Murfield Place. If you were here during the situations with Mid-South,
you know there was a lot of negative comment out there on the internet. And it was known, if you typed in Fairfield Harbour back in 2010, 2011, first hit was a negative comment. You don't want to retire there. This is not the place you want to move. So I think what Gary's doing, what we all can do to promote the community in a positive way, through volunteering, just talking about the beautiful people that live here, the fact that we can take care of our community, the fact that we're going to move forward and look to build a community center, or not a community center, a multifunctional center where we can meet at. I think we have to embrace those things to move this community forward, to put behind things that happen with Mid-South and look to the future, because the future is what we need in Fairfield Harbour. We cannot change what happened, but we can build the future. Thank you.
Gary?
I don't need a microphone, I got a big mouth. What I've been doing in that group actually is trying to delete people and decline people who are not going to be members of this community or do not currently live here or have no association with us. So, even though we want you to keep the comments positive, I'm getting rid of people.
But Gary, remember, you and I met on one of those websites.
Yes, we did. On City Data.
Ah.
City Data. You can go to Coastal Carolina on City Data, and you can punch in Fairfield Harbour, and you can read all the bad comments made about Fairfield Harbour since 2006.
Right.
So if you ever have a year, enjoy it.
I'll get you in just 1 second, Phyllis. Denny?
My name is Benny Thompson. I'm 99 Jewel Court. I'm one of many realtors that live in our neighborhood. We want to see our neighborhood improve. We are seeing our neighborhood could improve. And we have heard it for years through other realtors around through our board of realtors, the negatives of Fairfield. And we are all ambassadors that are turning this around. And it is turning around. Thank you for the board for helping us do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Someone could get a microphone over to,
I'm Phyllis Wiltrail, 802 West One Road. On a very positive note, I think as you drive in on Broad Street Road to Fairfield Harbour, the place looks absolutely amazing. Amazing. And Will is doing a great job. It's a pleasure to live here in the surroundings. This is the nicest it's ever been.
well, we'll have to all thank Will. Will is the gentleman who we see a lot on the shoreline, and he is by far the most genteel, kind, wonderful man. One of them that I have ever met. Pleasant, and any other adjective that and he's a very, very hard worker. He doesn't stop in the rain. He doesn't stop just playing, doesn't stop in the heat. He's like the Energizer Bunny. And I will make sure that he knows that you all appreciate what he does. If there are no further questions, I would like to thank Ken Galveston, Brian Griffith, and also the two new board members, Cindy Pellegrini and Mitch Imminger, for all their hard work. It's not an easy job. I'm glad that everybody used their right to join in the election process, and I hope that next time more people will consider helping the board, maybe be on the board, or at least be on some committees. We're really at a turning point with some of the committees, and we need to fill some positions which are in the So if you would be so kind as to pick up your chairs and I
back in the room. Go this way out that door around